Hey, how you doing? Come on in, sit for a spell. We're gonna have us a little Friday fun night. It's also Friday the 13th, so I wanted to do something a little different tonight, just for the heck of it. And I've been actually considering doing this for a while. I really want to start to build a lore on the channel in connection with these different characters that have been coming out of the ARCANE BS deck, so that when we dive into these quests, we really understand the nature of what we're dealing with, who we're dealing with, when these characters introduce themselves onto the scene. And so we've been having this effing guy come out a lot recently. So I thought, let's look into this effing guy. And as we look into this effing guy, I'm going to be channeling his energy. So we're going to get this archetype, who this effing guy is. We're going to understand a little bit of his nature, his makeup. We're going to see things through his perspective, the lens that he's looking at reality through. We're going to enter his reality tunnel for a little bit and experience the world through his eyes, you could say. And we're going to have fun with it too. We'll look at what his powers are and also what's his kryptonite. We'll look at many different angles and layers. So when this effing guy shows up on the scene in our reads, you'll know who you're dealing with. And don't get them confused. There's a difference between that effing guy and the effing guy. He's for another time. Right now we're looking at that effing guy. So when that effing guy is on the scene, he comes through to stir things up. He wants to make his presence known. He's there to flex, you could say. He wants to show the power that he holds. And also that he has the ability to take an action. He considers himself his own authority. This is somebody who doesn't accept the concept of any rulers, any masters. They are the master of their universe. This is a little bit of a kind of Skeletor kind of character, you could say. And they might have that kind of humor too. They might have a little bit of a macabre sort of sense of humor, a dry sense of humor, very sardonic. You know, this is somebody who maybe comes with a little edge to them. They do tend to be boisterous. They do tend to have a certain magnetic aura. They have a presence around them, and yet they come with a lot of trouble. I do got that their powers, that they got this big stick. I also got that their kryptonite is they got this big stick. It gets them in a lot of trouble. The way that they do have the ability to stir things up and also sway those with their wiles is something that is both their blessing and it's their bane. So this is just like a little introduction to that effing guy. But we know that when that effing guy is showing up, stuff is about to get a little unpredictable. Well, unpredictably predictable, because you know kind of what to expect from that effing guy, but they're always working some new angle. They always got some new objective. This is somebody who's always hatching a scheme. They like to be at the center of a plot. They like this. They dig this. This could even be somebody who's into things like role playing, you know. This could be somebody who's a gamer. This is somebody who likes sort of building a persona and identity, playing it out for a while. And then when they're tired of it, they toss it aside. It's not necessarily a destructive thing per se, except at times it has been. It has been, all right? It has been. That's not always the intention. Sometimes their desire for that flex of power and to be very showy about what they hold and what they're capable of can get them sort of in a trap of their own making. I got that, but we're going to kind of build the story around this effing guy. We want to hear things from this effing guy's side in relation to the energies that have been coming out in the collective recently. So he's got the talking stick, you could say. So we got to let him have the floor here. And if you are this effing guy, then this is your opportunity to really have your side of the lore come forward rather than the lore that's been spun by others. And if you know this effing guy, it's an opportunity for you to maybe get a little different of a view. So let's see, what is this effing guy all about? Show us his backstory here. I want the backstory on this effing guy. What's led him up to this particular point of being one of the feels like the main characters entering the scene on this timeline. So let's see what he's aiming for here. He definitely is carrying a big stick. He has a point he wants to get across. He has some kind of action he's going to take here. He feels pretty secure in himself. I just noticed this about this effing guy. It almost looks like he's walking on water, doesn't it? It's like he feels like he can pull anything off. I think this is somebody who's very self-assured. They can be a little cocky. They feel like, you know, nobody's above them. Okay, this person has a very high sense of self-esteem. They feel like they are the prize. They are the prize. So they kind of call the shots. They know what they're working with. You know, they feel like there's a lot of people that have their eye on them. They feel like they're a high commodity. They also feel like that gives them a certain power because they can call it quits for others. This could be somebody who's in a position of power. They do have their eyes on a particular objective. They will do what they need to do to get the harvest they seek. They also will cull the fields of any opposing elements that could get in the way of them getting what they want. And they're not afraid to take action to really flex that power that they hold, okay? But a lot of people may not suspect this side to this character because they do feel like they have some position of responsibility as the provider here. This may be something that is concealed. Some people may misunderstand this effing guy. They may view him as just being somebody who's too opinionated, somebody who's egocentric, somebody who's always, signing checks with their mouth that can't be cashed in reality. That this is somebody who keeps a lot hidden. And maybe there's also somebody here who has a little secret they're hiding behind their day-to-day life. Their day-to-day life could be that they're responsible for providing for a lot of people. That they've had to always be the provider. Maybe they were the provider since they were very young because the adults in their life never could fully step up to the plate. And so a lot of responsibility fell on their shoulders. They felt like maybe in some ways they didn't get to fully live out their youth. They felt like they had to grow up too fast, or maybe they really feel like they wish they had more time to really value their youth, but things were tough. And this could be somebody that maybe even has a little bit of a checkered past. They could have gotten in some trouble. Some of them could have gotten in trouble with the law in the past, or they were a bit of a bad boy. They were a bit of a rebel. They may have sort of kept a side of themselves concealed too. Concealed in their present reality. It's like right now they play a very different role than maybe they used to play in the past. Behind the provider, there's a part of this effing guy that really does want to let their wild side out. They may let their wild side out. See, it's something that's always been part of them since they were very young. It didn't go anywhere. It's still at the core of who they are. They are feeling like they're running a little bit on empty, like they need something to come in and feed that part of them. I do think they are responsible for a lot. They hold a lot. They hold a lot down. A lot of people look to them to take care of them. They may even be a family man, okay? They have responsibilities and they have balls that they cannot drop. Even as they're seeing their balls drop as they get older, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're remembering a different time, you know? They're remembering a different time. And I think this is somebody who is concealing their desire to take a walk on the wild side. To take a walk on the wild side. They may feel like to pull something off is akin to walking on water, but if anybody could do it, they can. I mean, they definitely know what they want here. I see that. It's coming in pretty strongly. Came in at 10:40 on the clock, so a lot of Fool energy around this individual. They could be an Aries, they could be an Aquarius, they could be a Leo rising. This could be somebody that is about to step into a new chapter. Somebody may have already seen into this person. They may have already seen into the mystery of who they are. There's somebody here, the Queen of Holes. This might be somebody who's a bit more puritanical. This could be somebody that they are providing for. This could be a mother. This could be the ideals that they grew up with. This could also be somebody that actually feels like they are the provider. It's sort of this interesting dynamic. Both hold power, but one feels like they're more on the losing end of the power structure here. And this effing guy does walk with a club. It carries a little bit more weight. Like it comes with a bit more of impact than what the Queen of Holes is carrying here. And there is something that is very much aligned with, you could say, traditional values, expectations, maybe even conformity, that this effing guy is not willing to fall in line with. I mean, it looks like they've fallen in line with it for a while, trying to do the honorable thing, but I do feel like they're about to rebel against that. And it looks like there's somebody that's their match here. It looks like a lot of fire energy coming through. Strong fire energy here. But there is something that's about to go through a transformation. Somebody is about to really come into their power. And I feel like coming into their power is really about them revealing the mystery of who they are to this Queen of Holes. You see, because she's missing an eye. And so missing an eye is a sign of sacrifice because you got to peer into the mystery. So perhaps there is this Queen of Holes who has stared into the mystery of this effing guy. It may have him feeling a little bit vulnerable, I got, because it sort of rips off his mask as this provider. Like there's something she sees within this effing guy that's a bit wild. She may even pull it out of this effing guy. But there's something here about these two are like polar opposites. They have very different ideologies. They come with different BS. They have different perspectives, different ways of seeing things. One is more traditional, one is more wild. You could even say that one comes from more of a Christian kind of background or traditional values. This person's more, this effing guy is more of a hedonist. They don't really necessarily even have a set belief system. They're more eclectic in their perspective. They may be somebody that feels a strong connection to ancient Egypt. They may find a lot of resonance within the Egyptian pantheon too. This could be a dynamic as well, that this is a connection. Let's go esoteric with it now. This could be a connection that's played out over lifetimes. It's always been a power struggle between these two. Who's going to hold the power? Maybe they're starting to become awakened to the reality of the arcane history of this connection in this life. And it's sort of like this moment of the battle royale. It's like, at one point, this individual, this effing guy, was seen as just the provider. Now the Queen of Holes is recognizing she's seen something into the mystery of this connection. She now knows who she's facing off with. So it's sort of creating a situation where it's disrupting the current dynamic. You see? Because it's something rooted in the archives of the ancient past that's coming to the forefront in the eternal now, and these energies are facing off. Facing off. It's an interesting dynamic. I also know at the same time, these two are a pair. We got two that hold fire here, strong fire connection, light each other's fire. Fires of passion, fire of ire as well. I feel it really strong. But there's a judgment call here. There's something coming through. Something's being seen from a beginner's mind perspective. I feel like the beginner's mind perspective is there's something that's happening here, and it feels like it's an awakening moment where you finally have the full soul recognition. You know, soul recognition, it's like, you meet somebody and you feel that instant tug. You're like, it's you. I know you. Some people call that as like, when it comes to somebody they're attracted to, like, oh, it's the one. But they may not realize, like, it's the one you were supposed to face off with and restore a certain balance of power with. And I think that's what's playing out here with this effing guy and the Queen of Holes. She saw into something that he's been guarding, that he's been safekeeping. And now the elephant in the room can no longer be ignored. And it's creating a situation where this effing guy feels like they have no choice except to really fully show up in their power and actually face this energy. Face this energy instead of approaching it in a more subdued or behind the scenes sort of way. So this is the birth of the approach of this effing guy approaching the Queen of Holes. The Queen of Holes is one who feels really drained by this effing guy. Like, feels like this effing guy has taken a lot out of her. She may have been on the same side as the effing guy in the past, maybe even shared perspectives. And then something about this effing guy made her feel like she had a come to Jesus moment, almost like maybe she felt like she had to separate herself from this effing guy because he brought too much drama her way. Now, in some cases, this Queen of Holes could share a child with this effing guy. And that makes things really complicated because they're sort of trapped in the old dynamic of the past. Now, this is going to get really out there, but I'm going to bring it in. Because I heard that Iron Maiden song, "Why, tell me, why do I have to be a power slave?" It could be that in this lifetime, that's getting settled now between these two in this storyline, that this effing guy used to be like a Pharisee kind of energy, and this was either an indentured servant or was somebody that was considered lower class, or somebody who could have even been considered their slave. And so it could be that they still have this not knowing maybe initially where it originates from, but they have this perspective like they should be able to build on the back of this Queen of Holes. And there may have even been a point when this Queen of Holes played out that role because they didn't see into the mystery of the connection yet. And they may have given too much and they may have become depleted. And then they saw something differently. They saw that they had a choice in whether they continued to enter through that particular door that leads to the halls of the arcane past and all of those former incarnations and ways they lived out before. Do they fall in line? Do they go down the traditional route in this storyline? But we see in this life, they're the queen. They're the Queen of Holes. Perhaps they're the Queen of Rabbit Holes. They've gone down many rabbit holes. They've gone through many journeys. They tumbled down the rabbit hole. Initially, maybe they've come into their own power, their own insight. They've had their own adventures in Wonderland. So now they're more on an even playing field, and that may be why an old dynamic no longer works where initially it did. So this is sort of the backstory about this effing guy. Give me a little bit more information here about what's about to go down now that this cover is blown. Tell me, effing guy, what are you planning on doing here? I mean, I see you taking a strong action. You have the floor. What action are you considering here? Ooh. Very interesting. I like it. I like it. Actually, this effing guy is very clear about the dynamic and the connection now. We got Rhubarb Tony here, definitely seated in their power. This is an emperor kind of energy. They have looked back into the archives of the ancient past. They understand who they've always been. But see, this emperor isn't really like full of themselves anymore. They've gotten a different perspective. It looks like something's been balanced out here. See, rhubarb is associated with the energy of Venus. So there's maybe been something that's been tempered here a little bit. Also, this character isn't really showy. They're a bit dressed down. Not what you would expect as somebody holding, you know, this kind of power. Not being as flashy with it as they were before. Now, this could be something, too, that's causing a little bit of damage in this particular connection because of seeing into the mystery of who somebody was, and also something that went down in this connection in the past caused a certain memory to be etched in the brain space there. And it's been the source of a lot of combative energy. It's also been the source of a lot of stuff to process. But what I like here is it feels like this effing guy has also elevated from their previous status of just ruling with force. This particular guy, this effing guy has actually come more into, I dare say, their heart space. They did find one drop left there, and they still had a little bit. They had a little bit left, and they think, okay, it may just be this little drop that's left in this miraculous chalice. So this is one of the empowerments they hold. They do hold a miraculous chalice, and they got one little drop, one little elixir of life in that chalice, and they feel if I call the elephant out of the room, and if I give that drop, that little elixir of life to this Queen of Holes, it may be just enough to find the way through and give a finger to everything that's been holding me back. But it does require that I come from what I've learned through the lessons with Venus here. And they do hold the power of Venus. They do have knowledge of what needs to be transformed. They're not coming in the same garb they wore once before. It could be a little bit of the emperor has new clothes, okay? They're dressed down. They don't feel the need to be flashy anymore. They're no longer holding up the big stick. They're holding the cup and they're holding a rhubarb leaf. They're coming in with the energy of Venus here. And what are they giving the finger to? I like this. They're giving the finger to these lies they've told themselves about not really knowing where their future lies. They do know where their future lies. They do know what they really want to get set in place for the road ahead. They have been letting a lot of old shit go. Their heart does have the directing force in their vision. And whoever this is, they absolutely have Mahakala on their side. This person is a devourer of all enemies of truth. But I have to tell you, the truths they speak, they come out very strongly. Very strongly. They don't mince their words. A lot of times it's misunderstood. Now they understand how to temper what they want to convey here to the Queen of Holes. And they know how to bring in this elixir of life. And with that elixir of life, that one little drop, it has the ability to become something that much like the cauldron of Dagda. It's an inexhaustible source of nourishment. They were telling themselves sort of lies to keep themselves in a place of comfortability with what had become their role that they'd been accustomed to. And now they recognize that, no, it's really time to grab this bull by the horns. It's time to shake off the old BS here. It's time to set a new view in place for how I want to open my road and what I'm stepping into here. And it does require letting some old shit go. But they're not in any doubt anymore. They know exactly where they're going. And they also have seen into the numinous mystery. Their eyes are wide open. Makes me feel like they're going through sort of a shift in their character arc. It's like moving out of the antagonist role into the protagonist role. And I like that. It's good, actually. I don't know how this Queen of Holes will receive it, but they are going to shoot their shot. And they may think this person doesn't have any clue. They're just kind of whooping it up, having fun. Maybe they don't even take this character seriously, but they are going to take them seriously once they see what's been a mystery. When they see what's been a mystery to them in this life, it's like maybe something that they sensed before was possible, but wasn't possible because this effing guy was still kind of acting out of old roles. But there's been some kind of transformation that has happened here. Okay, one more round. One more round of these, and then I'm going to build on this a little bit. So we're kind of getting a background story here. So I do feel like there's been some secrecy around letting the wild side out with this effing guy. And that may be why the Queen of Holes feels depleted, feels like a lot's been sort of taken from her in her connection with this effing guy. This effing guy did feel like they had to keep a part of them hidden. But with something being revealed, they're recognizing that the unveiling is actually what restores everything. It may have seemed destructive at first. It may have felt volatile, but it's actually what allows something new to get rooted here. And yeah, I think we got a decision maker coming in here, kind of coming in with swords energy. So this is blocking here. This is something that hasn't been traversed yet. So I feel like this is a bridge that needs to be crossed. We got a decision maker here. There is somebody, I feel like this could be the Queen of Holes. The Queen of Holes could have both strong fire and air in their chart. They match fire with this effing guy, but they also have a strong air element. And this person is able to be very decisive, and perhaps they did use their brains. There might have been a little bit of role reversal in this connection. Like, this effing guy always came more from their fire, right? I'm going to do what I want to do, you know, maybe using a little too much force at times, not tempering things at all, not bringing forward more of the nurturing water in the past, right? And maybe, you know, the Queen of Holes spilled out all of her waters to fuel up this effing guy in the past, gave too much, drained themselves. And then it was like, once they reached that place of burnout, they recognized they had to shift some things. So they cut off some confusion here. Something became too complicated. They put head over heart. Head over heart. And it's like role reversal here. Role reversal. I do feel like the decision maker, which appears to be this Queen of Holes, they feel like they're one and the same. They made some choice to cut something off, to end something, and they were fine with that decision, even though it may have felt very destructive. This could have been something, I'm hearing, that the effing guy didn't anticipate. They didn't think that's how it would go. I think because this Queen of Holes in the past used to entertain the complication, maybe even was in the mix of it, got caught up in it, but things have changed. They've rooted something different. They have more strength now. The Queen of Holes holds the energy of the South. They know how to be rooted like a tree. They have more strength. They stand taller than they used to. They're more grounded than they used to be. They have more knowledge, not only of this effing guy and the arcane history between the two of them, but also more understanding of themselves. The foundation of who they are. The roots of what makes them who they are. And this put them back into the position of decision maker instead of letting somebody else call the shots, I feel. They cut off complication. They moved out of the heart and acted more from their brains. And as a result, you know, they were able to really bend with those winds of change. They weren't overcome by the storm that came whipping through their life on the other side of what had to come to a close here. And it was meant to go down that way. Actually, this is something that's being balanced out between these two right now in the eternal now. It's having a ripple effect through all dimensions of time and space. Past, present, future, and beyond, even beyond concepts of time. So though this karmic cycle is coming to an end, it's not destructive. It roots something new into being. It roots in a new timeline, and everything's fine. Everything's fine. Not at that bridge yet, though. This is something that's going to be crossed here. Let's get a cut of the deck. See what comes in. So yes, I do feel that this is this effing guy. They do feel there's a treasure here that they need to protect. They know they need to take an action. This effing guy has the spear of Lu. They have their truth. They also have their fire. They know they need to act on that truth. They're also crowned by something here. They know it's under their charge to take this action. And they don't have any effing clue what they find when they approach the decision maker here, this Queen of Holes. They don't know if she's going to buy what they have to say, because she has seen into the mystery of this character, also understands the nature of their connection, unmasked something in this effing guy that maybe does make them feel like they don't know what to anticipate. It is brand new territory for them. But I like it because they're not coming in the way that this Queen of Holes decision maker expects. this effing guy has been tempered, okay? And is about to take an action to speak their truth, even though they don't have an effing clue what they're doing. It's not their forte. They're used to strategizing, you know? They're used to scheming. They're used to plotting. They're used to understanding what comes next. This is improv. This is going off the cuff. This is spontaneity. And it's a little nerve-wracking here, I feel. Let's see what's on the other side. But I like it. Because they're not going to sit here at the gallows hanging out, wasting time anymore. They're ready to call in their source of sustenance. They're ready to aim toward what's going to bring them happiness. They're going through some kind of transformation here. They entered through the mysteries of the house of Scorpio. They hung out with Mars and Pluto. And they have let themselves down here. They use the truth to set them free. And yes, there's chaotic forces in motion, but it is to root something in material reality. And look at that. There's the pyramid there. Kind of a little nod, a wink at the former life, you know. Who's charged to build the pyramid in this life? It's kind of like a little bit of role reversal. But I feel like there's a desire for more cooperative energy here. Like it can be a balance of power. We both can hold this power. Now that I see through your eyes, there's been like something mirroring that's happened here. Both are a little bit in a position of not being able to really see how this will go, I feel. When there is this communication, this meeting of the minds. Because we do see that there is this sense of not seeing the full picture with the Queen of Holes. She's seen into a mystery, but there's a little bit, could be a little bit of a quality of, there's been a little bit of an eye for an eye energy that's been brewing here. Because of feeling so depleted, like somebody really took something from them, like this effing guy really you took so much out of me. You took the best times of my life out of me. Like you wasted my time, my energy. And this effing guy is coming through to restore a sense of balance here. Yeah. I didn't have an effing clue back there. I didn't have an effing clue back there. I still don't. This is all new for me. But I know what's worth protecting. And so here I am. I'm showing up. Take it or leave it, you know? Take it or leave it. Are you going to slay me? Do you view me as the enemy? Are you going to make the decision to cut me off the way you cut off that complication? Is that all I am to you? I'm just a complication. I'm just something that brings a bunch of trouble into your world. I'm confusing for you. You don't get me. You don't understand me. I don't live up to your expectations. You don't think I'll ever be good enough. I'm nothing but a problem. Is that how you really see me? Do you really have an effing clue who I am? Do you? Okay, so there's a little bit of this here too for this effing guy. Don't underestimate him. I'm really picking that up. Don't underestimate him. He's not a nobody, man. He's somebody. He has something to offer. He does. He does. Yeah, he may have been a trickster in the past. He could have been in the past. In the past. That was the last time in the past that he was going to be a trickster with you. I was just playing. It was just for play. It was just for shits and giggles. It wasn't intended to be so dramatic, okay? Yeah. Maybe something that was just supposed to be, you know, a little fun went too far too. Maybe something wasn't recognized for how serious it really was. How serious it really was. How deep certain things cut. Not until somebody got a different perspective, maybe being on the other side of something too. Maybe recognizing as well ways that playing certain games were also causing delays with them releasing the truth, being able to see through the other's eyes. There's also like tears of a clown kind of energy here, not recognizing like I put a target on my own happiness, kind of playing these games, or maybe hanging out too long too, you know, just anticipating that I could make you come to me or do my bidding, you know, that you'd play out the role that you'd always played before. So there's really interesting dynamic in this particular connection coming through with this effing guy. So this effing guy is on the move. Something's about to change in this situation. They're not playing a martyr role here at all. They are taking some kind of action. Yeah, they absolutely cut themselves down. They could hold quite a bit of air themselves, okay? So we have strong fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, strong air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius out here. We could have two that hold equal passion and intelligence, creativity, and acumen, discernment, rationality. Two that can be very heated, impulsive. They can say things before they really have an understanding of how those things are going to land. These are two people that could be quick to provocation. And it looks like something's wanting to be balanced out here. It feels like there's a little bit of water introducing itself, coming in here. But there's been a real sense of being held back, stuck, not being able to understand how to move things forward. Really being too much up in the head. So I do see with that King of Swords that came out here, this effing guy has also made a decision. It's like they're matching that energy. They got out of their own sense of complication that was self-imposed, you know, a way that they were holding themselves back, telling themselves they couldn't take an action for one reason or another. Maybe just because it felt unfamiliar to them. Also for the aforementioned reasons that this effing guy brought through, okay? Look at this, crossing energy, and it falls right over this like Emperor energy, this rhubarb toning. We got Justice. Libra energy coming through. So scales are being balanced here. And look at this. The old power structure is being left behind. It's opening the road. And now there's the waterway coming into view for these two. This is good. So something's going to move forward here for these two. What's coming in toward this effing guy once they take this action? They're making some decision here. They're cutting off some source of complication. They're also no longer willing to like hang out in this place, sort of like trying to figure something out, ruminating any longer. They're definitely on the move here. They're definitely on the move with the Chariot coming in with Cancerian energy. So this is moving forward. They resolve the riddle. They resolve the riddle. They let go of a certain level of control. And in letting go of control of their feelings, I feel like that's a part of them that had been really uncharted territory. Like they really like to keep their feelings, their emotions under control. And this could have a lot to do with traditional structures. It could have been something that even came from a mother in their family or traditional values in their family. If this is the way that you're supposed to act when you're that effing guy, man, you're like, you're not supposed to let this part of you be seen, because maybe they learned through some skewed perspective in the past that when they did that, there was some way that it put them at a disadvantage, or they lost power in some way, or perhaps they felt like that would emasculate them just because of some kind of real rigidity here that had become fused in the consciousness, right? But they're seeing something different. And yes, it absolutely could be something connected to the mother too, or with the mother of their child, somebody they share a child with. It could come through in that way too. Something that has to do with their home, their upbringing, just coming in with that Cancerian energy. And I feel like they finally have processed something enough. They've ruminated on something enough. They see something clearly enough, and they're actually finding that in letting go of so much control around what they let themselves feel or what they let themselves express here from a truly authentic place, even if that means them letting down their guard when previously they would have felt like they really had to take a strong stance, it's moving them forward into balance. So this is beautiful. They're moving away from the pains they've been carrying forward with them. And this could be pains that they've been carrying forward with them since their childhood. And now they're finally ready to send that away. So I like the imagery, you know, with the Three of Wands. It's like this ship is sailing away, all the troubles and all the old storyline and sort of the character development up to this point is falling away, and now entering into a new character arc where really understanding the power they hold, because they released something that was actually acting as a limitation. It was a false sense of power. It was a false flex. Now this person's really coming into mastery of the power they hold, not through mastering others with scheming, plotting, this kind of stuff. Actually, they've mastered their lower impulses. They've mastered themselves. They've gotten down to the root of something here, and it's freeing their mind. It's freeing themselves from a story they used to tell themselves. It's really allowing them to come in without all the sort of like pomp and circumstance. You know what I'm saying? It's letting them come in dressed down. Like, this is me. Take it or leave it. And I see you too. I understand you from a different vantage point. That's who that effing guy is. So what I really feel is there's like this need to be able to see each other clearly. And I feel like that's something that this effing guy is coming in to really rectify. To be seen clearly, to be understood clearly, to represent themselves clearly and what they feel. And that's something that hasn't really come through before. Okay, I cut of the deck. Ooh, I like this. We got the Nine of Cups here, the Knight of Swords. I mean, once this character here, once that effing guy makes up their mind, nothing will hold them back. They will make sure that what they quest for is their fulfillment, and their thirst will be quenched. So here comes the waters, all right? There is like some wish fulfillment here. And I do think that what's ironic is where there used to be like this insecurity about really being in the center of what they feel. They now actually feel a real sense of empowerment in just being real raw and pure and true to what they feel, and representing that. It actually emboldens them. Really cool. Really cool. Okay? I don't know how the Queen of Holes, decision maker, is going to receive it. It does look like fortune is favoring that effing guy. They do have quite a bit to testify on their behalf about transformation, self-mastery, seeing something clearly. These two have been through actually a rather similar process. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm not going to go into this Queen of Holes decision maker more though, because I really feel that this is about looking into that effing guy, right? So at the basis of the matter here, there's been a long brewing conflict. There's been an embattled situation. In the past, there's been wars that have been fought over this particular connection here. Something about these two forces meeting, yeah, and they are meeting for sure, because this came out of its own accord. It's been through a lot. It's been battle weary, but it is manifesting here. And it's coming in with the energy of the 8 of clubs. So this is something that is building momentum here. This is something that is building momentum even as we speak. And it's really what is rising up out of the past for transformation. It does carry things forward. It is a vehicle forward. The 7 that comes in with the Chariot, it moves into the 8 of clubs. It affects a change. And this is an approach toward an Empress here coming on through. And there is something that roots in material reality. Interesting. I see this Ace of Clubs here. Okay, the Ace of Clubs, it is coming in the shadow. And that's in relation to what went down in the past on the split of the deck there. But we do see that there's been a different kind of momentum here. There's been a moving away from that energy very clearly. What's desired now is healing, celebration, and also laying down a proper foundation. There's solidity in the approach. All right, let's get some more details here. Strong 8 energy coming through. Double 8s here does imply there's going to be some kind of breakthrough moment. This particular guy, this effing guy, is actually going to be bringing on a tower of power. Their power is in what they reveal to the other players in the situation. They're about to discover something new, learn something new about this effing guy once they see how he plays his hand. It's the element of surprise. It's disarming. It's disarming. I mean, I do feel like this dressed down, transparent, emotions forward, not having the answers, but being okay to get in the fray of it. There's something there that is disarming. It disarms opposing forces. That's what I really see here, right? But I do feel like there's sort of like the approach brings on sort of a flaring up of the Queen of Holes sense of power, like maybe kind of puffing herself up a bit, feeling like she needs to be ready for a battle, not recognizing that's an element of surprise. It will disarm her. Okay? Very interesting energy. Something's being balanced. This is the lifetime. This gets balanced out. This power struggle that's been going on for quite a while, many lifetimes. So let me just get some more details here to cap this off. It could be a real strong Leo connection. Virgo could be connected. There could be a Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, strong Scorpio, there's pretty strong Aries energy. Empress energy, Hierophant energy, strength, Magician is the energy I got coming through here. So a lot of transformation, something being revived, rising up out of the past. Powers of alchemy at work here. There could be a history of alchemy work in this connection too. Both could hold power, both hold wands, both work with different means as well. Different means, but both are effective. Okay, because I mean, I see there's been a battle here before in the past, but there is something that's being balanced out. power could have been misused in the past. It could have created somewhat of like a karmic knot, like something that had to be resolved in relation to spiritual work that was done in the past that maybe was causing blockages too, until something was transmuted. It's something that could have occurred on both sides. Okay, I see this too. Woo, a lot came out with that. Oh yes, that was slow coming to light. There's been perhaps like blockages created in relation to that, or past manipulation in a situation because of feelings of distrust between these two. Absolutely, absolutely. And I do see that coming in with a Queen of Diamonds in the shadow. But also it looks like there's been a transformation that's occurring with this Queen of Diamonds as well. They understand the way that in kind of acting out of that place of betraying that effing guy, they actually betrayed themselves. There's also justice coming in relation to this. There has to be a balancing of the scales to transform something from its shadow expression into its light aspect. We see this justice coming in on the scene to balance it out. There could be a life path 5, a life path 6 that's connected to this. And what is the result? Something new gets stabilized here. There's a new foundation that gets rooted. Emperor energy. Interesting. I feel like the balance comes through the Emperor taking this action, and it transmutes something in this situation. This could have been something that was sort of like a tit for tat, an eye for an eye, been going back and forth for a while. You know, shots fired from both sides, you know. But whatever is happening here, the action that this effing guy is taking is going to put a new foundation in place because they are truly acting out of their Emperor energy. They're like, I'm not that effing guy anymore. I'm the effing guy. Get it right, man. Get it right, dude. I'm the effing guy. I'm not that effing guy. I am the effing guy. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you. Okay? So it may have been real slow getting here. Somebody was dragging their heels, perhaps because in the past, that's the way that they did hold power, eking things out one drop at a time. But the waterway is opening. The waterway is opening here, okay? One more round to cap this off. And then maybe I'll get some dice. The ERISIAN Spirit Board Action. Yeah, I like it. Look, very decisive energy. Something has definitely been transformed. These two are now matching each other. I like it because there has been a real transformation here. We got the decision maker. The two decision makers are bringing their heads together to figure out how can we work our way out of this conundrum. What do we need to do to work this out? Well, we got to sit down at the bargaining table here. We got to hash it out, and it's time to get dealt a new round here, you know, new hand to play in this situation. So there's an opportunity to get a seat at the table, okay? That's what I see. What fell away there? Something that's hidden. Something that's concealed. What's concealed is there is a way to balance something out. There is a way to balance something out that's been a real sore sense of disappointment, a real sore point that's been the source of an ongoing conflict. There is a way to move forward on the other side of this. You know, there could be a Cancer connected to that. It does come in with the Chariot energy. We did see the Chariot arriving on the scene. That could be in relation to the mother too. This could also be going beyond the concept of, I'll disappoint my mother if I do this. Or the BS that was put on that effing guy by the mother that caused them to sort of adopt a role that's not really authentically them. And yet there's also the discovery that, no, there is a way to move forward here. This could even be like hashing something out with a mother in some cases. Oh, wow. Look at this. Queen of Spades. So definitely on the same team here. Something's balanced out. United front. United front. Putting the fear, the stress, the shadows of the past behind. Something's been illuminated in the South Node. Something will get balanced out. Here I see it. And then there's the moving forward out of the South Node. I like it beautiful. Look at that. King of Clubs coming out in the light. That effing guy's energy is transformed. I don't think that the Queen of Spades is even aware that this is coming their way. But it is. It is. There's an investment that's going to be made here that actually moves things forward in a brand new way. Moves things forward in a brand new way. Let me do a cut of the deck here on that. Very interesting. But here we got the Jack of Spades in the shadow. Okay. So this to me feels like an outlier energy. And we're not going to get into this right now because this is not that effing guy. This is an outlier energy. And we'll do a separate read for one of the other characters that's been coming out in the Arcane BS deck around this energy. We got a few to choose from, okay? We got a few to choose from. And we also got a King of Hearts here in the shadow. Okay, I feel like this is the outlier energy. All right. They're focusing on something, and then behind the scenes, they're planning some kind of counter-strike strategy here, interception strategy here to prevent these two from joining forces and working together. That's what I see, okay? So, yeah, they're trying to sort of put something to rest. That's what I feel. Got sentience around this. Because they know that if these two come together, that's the treasure. The Wheel of Fortune turns and something's balanced out. It comes in with the Temperance energy. So there is some oppositional force here that would like to get the hands on the treasure for themselves, but not to build with another, to hoard it in a state of greed for themselves, and merely for the satisfaction of preventing this from coming together. So it looks like when these two join forces, there's something that's lit there in both of them that roots something that's meant to come to fruition. And there's always going to be opposition to that because it's like a light building energy here. But I do see there's been a lot of shadow on both sides of the equation here. All right? It's not just that effing guy. Both of these characters, it looks like predominantly that effing guy is more concerned with this Queen of Holes decision maker than anybody else. This is where they're focused here. But they do have energy that's keeping an eye on them that feels antagonistic toward this direction they're going to be heading in, and they are trying to figure out a counterstrike. But we don't need to look at that because we'll dive into that in a separate read. All right. Very intriguing. I never would have expected that to come through for that effing guy. So already that effing guy is sort of turning our perceptions upside down, giving us a different view. We're getting to see a little bit into the mystery of that effing guy, and gives us quite a different way of relating to him when we see him come out in the reads. Now, not necessarily for all of eternity, because, you know, that effing guy can be played by many different roles, but that effing guy that's been introducing himself in our current reads that have been going down related to this Stargate is now the effing guy. He's gone through quite a transformation. But that archetype certainly can be embodied by others. But currently we're just focusing on this stretch of the road, that we're leading up to with the Ring of Fire. The storyline can already change, but the thing is once you've gone through that level of transformation where you really come into that energy, you don't lose it. This is somebody who's already really looked into all of their shadow stuff. This is somebody who has gained a certain insight that once you see into a certain mystery, you can't ever take it back, all right? So that effing guy is now the effing guy, all right? I like it. And this is interesting here because I like it. It's like it comes out with the energy of 11. So again, life path 5, life path 6, okay? It could be really strongly connected to this energy. Also the 5th month, May, there could be a Taurus connected. There could be a Gemini connected to this situation. There could be a Cancer connected. There's been a choice involved in this situation. There's definitely been like stuff in the South Node that was holding things back. There's been a need to kind of be held in place to do this work, you know, doing the work of the Hermit here. But something has been transformed. Does come in with the energy of the Hermit. So Virgo energy could be present here. Leo energy. There's pretty strong Virgo energy. We also got Pisces energy here. Leo energy. Aquarius. Sagittarius, Scorpio, also High Priestess energy. There's been something that has been a mystery, but once the mystery is seen through, there's nothing but moving forward. And moving forward in a different way than expected. There's like a different perspective that comes through here. So we got the Empress archetype, the Lover's card, the Choice, the Hierophant, the Hangman, Justice. Right? Something's absolutely being balanced out here. There's a decision being made and something has been transformed. So, I mean, that's good energy. Good energy coming through there. There is a point of alignment coming in. Let's get some names of interest, places of interest, some messages, some signposts, synchronicities from a little ERISIAN Spirit Board Action. See what we got. This is where the story begins. So something's come to an end. One story has come to an end. This is where the new story begins. It's a brand new story. Everything brand new. Very interesting. And it is coming in with the energy of Jupiter. So there is something that is transforming here. And it's bringing about expansion. It's bringing about some kind of confirmation that this transformation is leading to that pie in the sky. It's not a pie crust promise, okay? It is something that you're holding in your hands here. Somebody may have told you it was a pie in the sky dream, and this is a big win. It's a big win, though, not in a competitive sense. It's a big win over the BS. It's like really taking back your inner authority. You went back to the roots of something. You trace something back to the beginning. And as a result, an ending is turning into a new beginning. This is where it all begins. After something is tossed in the bin, because I do feel like there is something that you are letting go of here. That effing guy is letting go of something here. You know what it's coming through as? It's coming through as psych, you know? Back when I was a kid, they used to say, psych, thought you had a friend, okay? So, yeah, they might be letting go of like some connection, somebody who, you know, said that they were really on their team, so to speak, you know, somebody that they thought really supported them, somebody who they thought was a friend, but turned out to be sort of just like, it's coming through as plain in their face. Yeah, plain in their face. Somebody thought it was real funny to play in that effing guy's face. And I think that effing guy is really setting a record straight here. They're letting go of that connection, whatever that is. They want connections that they can really count on. I got vine energy coming in here too. Initially, I did hear something about, I heard it through the grapevine. I feel like that is that energy that's on the periphery that's hearing news, getting wind about this alignment coming in. Like they sense that something is coming into contact here. It's really weird. It's coming out with Selkie energy. So this could be somebody that gave their power away. Gave their power away. Is getting wind. Gave their power away to the hunter. The story of the Selkie. Gave their power away to the hunter. And now this person is catching wind of this. It might actually be awakening them to a way that they kind of abandoned a part of themselves too. Interesting. I feel like that's the energy on the periphery. That might be why they're kind of planning some kind of strategy for interception. They might be looking more at getting their power back in a distorted way rather than understanding the ways that they gave their power away or they weren't true. Perhaps even in being a false friend to another. Okay? That could be why they're being released by that effing guy. Anyway, they're hearing it from outside sources. They're hearing something through the grapevine. There could be people talking about this. Also, I think of vines. Vines are very resilient, you know, very resilient. So it could be considered that an interfering element has been completely eliminated. Might not be the case, okay? This energy might be more determined to hold on to some position because they lost something essential of themselves, that they become falsely identified with this position of power they held. This is the interloper energy, whatever's hanging out in the periphery. It's a little bit of history in relation to that situation. It's coming through as a gal, okay? So this could be a gal pal, okay? That's what I got. It's coming through as a feminine in relation to this. Somebody who feels like they got treated like a dog. And you know what it's making me think of for some reason? And with that, I'm hearing the Stooges. So yeah, somebody could feel like they got played for like a stooge. They could feel like they got treated like a dog, like they're being dogged out. But see, I feel like when I think of the Stooges, I think of that song, I Want to Be Your Dog. So like somebody lost an essential part of themselves because they kind of let themselves be put in that role. So they may not understand how this is actually an opportunity for them to get their true power back too. Everybody has an opportunity in how they play their hand, right? So you got that effing guy who's winning here because they're actually just getting back to who they truly are, and they're coming into this place of really getting beyond their shadow stuff and what's held them back. And you got some feminine here who views winning as being able to kind of more direct someone's course in life or be able to hold power over their fortunes. But this isn't really possible, though it will be attempted. I do feel like somebody will not let something rest. There may be some difficulties associated with this, all right? But somebody put themselves in this position. I see it very clearly. This is something that's going down right now in this situation, okay? It's just like dawning on this gal pal. There could be a gal pal connected to this situation that's a little problematic, okay? That's what I got. That's what I got. So, wow. That was really interesting. It was interesting to learn about that effing guy and hear what that effing guy has to say about who he is. And it does seem like, you know, they've been kind of like buried under the weight of maybe actions they've taken in the past. But they do have a new perspective here. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But all I know is there's some BS that's been tossed in the bin. And a new story is opening. There's some kind of karmic balance rolling out here. And it's about to get pretty interesting. So that's quite a different view. Well, all I have to say about that is Godspeed, effing guy. And yeah, watch out. Watch out for this gal pal, man. Because I don't know. She may give you a little more trouble yet. You've been warned.